welcome back. We have Sono Group N.V, trades on the OTCQB under the symbol SEVCF, and its wholly owned subsidiary, Sono Motors GmbH, are on a pioneering mission to accelerate the revolution of mobility by making every vehicle solar. Please welcome Managing Director, CEO, and CFO, George O'Leary. Welcome to the conference, George.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for having me.
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is George O'Leary. I'm the Managing Director, CEO, and CFO of Sono Group N.V. Since most of you don't know me, let me give you a little bit about my extensive background in startups, in turnarounds, and in growing businesses, both private and public companies. So I started my career at Pete Morrick and Mitchell. Now it's KPMG, so I'm dating myself a little bit here. I was an executive with Cablevision Industry for 10 years. I ran $125 million worth of business for Cablevision Industries until we sold to Time Warner. Then I started my own cable installation business and grew a business from 5 to 40 million in 4 years. So I definitely have extensive history in growing business as well. And then I started my own consulting business called SKS Consulting. And what's interesting about that consulting business, my last name in Irish is O'Leary, stands for Strong Are the Kings of the Sea, and that's where SKS comes from, with SKS Consulting. So very excited about being in this very exciting up-and-coming industry, solar technology and mobility. And so now I'll tell you a little bit more about Sono Group N.V. My presentation takes about 10 to 15 minutes, so after that we'll have questions from the audience. Obviously, we'll start with the standard disclaimer for all public companies, so don't need to spend a lot of time there. So a little bit about Sono Group and what we do. So we provide an end-to-end solution for solar mobility for commercial vehicles. We start with our solar PV panels, from 16 for the buses, 8 for trucks, and up to 4 for vans. Then we have our solar charge controller, which we call our MCU, which is a proprietary solar controller for integrating our technology. So vehicle integration is our wiring and integration system. And then we have our software and data analytics. What's interesting about that is it provides a dashboard for solar yield, and but it also tracks the carbon footprint, so the reduction of CO2 emissions, and so basically helps companies and so our clients and also our company calculate what our carbon footprint reduction is for going forward for business. So we're a pioneer of solar-powered mobility applications. We're headquartered in Munich, Germany. We incorporated in 2016. Our management board and U.S. supervisory board are in the United States, so we combine basically a U.S. perspective with German technology and engineering, so it makes for a good combination. We're currently on the OTCQB under the symbol SEVCF, as Anna mentioned. We have 40 employees based in Munich, Germany. And since March of 2023, we focus on retrofitting and integrating proprietary solar technology specifically for commercial vehicles, and we've been generating revenue since 2021. So let's talk about the solar energy market and demand. So as you can see by this slide, there's a strong global growth of the addressable market for solar integration. So you have 3 components. You have today's vehicles, you have EV vehicles, and then commercial vehicles. Our focus, which is about 1/3 of this opportunity, is on the commercial vehicle side. And so the $2.8 trillion market, we represent about 1/3 of that. What's also interesting about this slide is the EV market goes from about 11% to 72% in the next 20 years. And the way I see things is solar energy basically is bridging that gap from your current vehicles to the electric vehicles during that period where the charging stations catch up to the electric vehicles, so that in the meantime, solar energy can provide a bridge to that, because with solar, it's driven by the sun. So global investments in solar increased significantly, with Europe and North America being 2 of the 3 largest drivers of the growth. You have Asia Pacific, which is basically China and Japan, has over $1 trillion spent. Their European market, including Germany, Germany specifically has $185 billion spent in Germany. And then North America, which mostly the US, makes up the 3 largest markets. The key takeaway is solar is now the largest and most affordable renewable energy source of all energy sources. 2 reasons for the trends why solar integration makes sense now is over the last 10 years, there's been a 90% reduction in PV solar panels, as well as a 33% increase in efficiency during that same period of time. So let's talk about Sono Group N.V.'s product and technology. So our initial focus was on buses with our solar bus kit, and we recently announced that we expanded our product offering to include trucks and vans. So for all of our product offerings, basically our focus is reducing fuel consumption, which reduces the total cost of ownership, and as well as reducing CO2 emissions to help with the carbon footprint. Okay. We just recently attended the IAA Transportation 2024 event in Hanover, Germany, and the attendees were very optimistic and excited about our new product offerings, and it actually created a very nice, robust sales pipeline for our business for the trucks and vans going forward. I always love to talk about recreational vehicles because consumers spend up to $1.5 million on recreational vehicles. And so the incremental cost to add solar to that, one, obviously reducing CO2 emissions for the socially conscious consumer, but also it prolongs the battery life for both refrigeration and other appliances. But really for recreational vehicles, it provides a cool factor and a first to have that is really part of our sales strategy. And we think that there's a huge opportunity with recreational vehicles, both in the US and Europe alike. So our solar bus kit, one, we have current installations. It's a product ready to be installed. For the buses, it's actually 16 solar panels that we put on our buses. Again, I mentioned 8 solar panels on trucks and 4 solar panels on vans. We add that to our integration system, our wiring and integration system, along with our proprietary MCU unit, and then our back-end analytics and software that provides a dashboard for our customer base. So we recently announced a partnership with a huge German reseller to expand our sales for solar kits across Europe. Hofmeister and Madeke, they operate 18 locations across Germany, and they're one of the leading distributors of commercial vehicle parts. As part of the Freaky Group, the partnership taps into 84 locations in 27 countries with 3,700 employees, provides robust operational support and expertise. And as I mentioned, we launched our solar bus kit first, and then we'll be launching our other products as we go forward as well. So as now for a corporate update of Sono Group N.V. So as I mentioned, our management board and our supervisory board are now based in the United States. So we have the US perspective along with our operational company in Munich, Germany, with our 2 managing directors there. So providing the German engineering and technology, so it provides for a great combination. I couldn't go without talking about our most valuable asset, which is our dedicated and diverse team of 40 employees based in Munich, Germany. They are totally committed to provide a clean and green world and to help improve the environment and obviously the carbon footprint, reduce the carbon footprint. So our company profile, we have just under 106 million shares outstanding, and we have over 15,000 shareholders for the company. Our industry classification is now technology, specifically for PV solar panels and solar mobility as we go forward. Our legal counsel is the global company of DLA Piper, and we work with 3 of their countries, the US, Germany, and Netherlands. Our headquarters are in Germany of our GmbH, but our holding company is based out of the Netherlands. Our auditor is Grassi & Company, and our transfer agent is AST. So we have a great outlook for 2024 and 2025. most important to potential investors and our shareholders is, do we have adequate funding? So the answer there is yes, we have up to $10 million of funding, of which we've received $8 million already, including $3.5 million we just received in September. So that helps us get through the year. And we basically have sufficient funding for operations through June of next year. So our sales targets and our growth targets, we're aiming to sell over 1,000 solar kits by the end of 2025. And our business model is twofold. One, direct sales to OEMs and fleet operators. And two, our reseller market, which, as I mentioned, we signed with the largest German reseller. And then also prioritizing the different territories. So we're definitely moving into the US markets to see what the business opportunities will be there as well, as we look forward to a continued and significant growth for the business. Shareholder value and transparency. Our company filed our annual report, Form 20F, for 2023 in June of this year. And then we were immediately admitted to the OTCQB under the symbol SEVCF for trading. In the meantime, our focus and attention is for the company to work toward meeting the initial listing requirements of the NASDAQ capital markets. And we're looking to make that happen over the next few months. So the key takeaways for potential investors and our shareholders. One, solar is now. Trillions are spent on solar, both by governments and socially responsible companies. Two, we have a fresh start in the largest and most affordable renewable energy source, which is solar technology. And three, we believe in the markets we're targeting, which is basically Europe and the US, that they're at the beginning of a new boom in solar energy mobility. And lastly, no matter what your politics are, globally, everyone loves solar. So with that, Anna, I will turn it over to you for any questions that the audience may have.
Wonderful. Thank you, George. Let's start with, given this rapid growth of the EV market, we all see that. So how does Sono Group plan to differentiate its solar technology solutions from other renewable energy players out there in this space?
Great question. So number one, we actually have over 9 granted patents and over 30 pending patents. So our patent technology really creates a competitive advantage over our other competitors, and that is definitely one of our big advantages that we offer.
A question from Peter saying solar is not enough to push these vehicles very long distances. Are they hybrid with fuel or diesel? You want to comment?
Yes, great question. So mostly what it is, it's basically an integration of either the diesel or electric vehicles. So it's not for a full integration. It's for an integration to improve the process, to reduce the amount of fuel consumption and reduce the amount of CO2 emissions. It's not to eliminate it. So electric vehicles will move to eliminate it, but we're 20 years away from that happening. So from 11% to 72% for electric vehicles. The way I see solar is bridging the gap between those two, because one, I didn't mention it, but our installation for the solar integration only takes less than a week to install. So it's not like a fleet operator is going to tie up their whole fleet for months and months at a time to do the solar installation. So it makes it a lot more efficient and a lot easier to integrate than converting all over to electric vehicles. So this really bridging the gap to that happening.
Well, with that said, what are some of the main barriers to this widespread adoption, and how are you addressing these challenges?
Yeah, so great question. Obviously, one is cost for a fleet operator. And one of the reasons we just launched our new product offerings is we listened to our customers and they were saying, give us additional options. So we went from a 16-panel solar panel option to an 8 and a 4 solar panel option to help reduce cost. But really, that's really the key. And the other key is local governments, local and national governments really looking to provide subsidies to these customers because they have a very clear carbon footprint reduction that they're planning through 2040. And we're really that bridge to get there. So with help with local and national governments, we believe that this is really the way to go between now, that bridge between now and the eventual EV market.
And Rylan asks, what is the cost to outfit a commercial vehicle? Is there a range, multiple levels?
Yes, a great question. So currently our solar bus kit, and again, our focus is with federal government subsidies, but our current cost structure is somewhere in the $10,000 to $15,000 range for the full integration and the installation on solar bus kits.
And Matt asks, what's the demand? Yes.
No, I was just going to say, and then we just introduced the new opportunity for both trucks and vans, and they're obviously incremental, less cost because less solar panels. Yes.
Well, with this technology, Matt asks, what does the demand look like? Are you fulfilling all the orders? Do you have a backlog?
Yeah, so great question. So we don't have a backlog. We the solar bus kit is our main product. We just launched our new product offering, and as I mentioned at the IAA Transportation Conference, we've ended up with about 90 interested parties in our sales pipeline, and so the demand is getting stronger and stronger as we go. Again, this is really the beginning of the boom for solar integration, and so we believe that the demand is definitely going to be there as more and more socially conscious companies and governments are kind of moving into this direction again and bridging that gap between the regular vehicle and the electric vehicle.
And so Jeff wants to know who specifically is placing orders for solar on the commercial vehicles. Is it municipalities? Is it individual corporations?
Yep, so great question. So it is municipalities that have the bus transportation that they're managing. It's also OEMs that are ordering our solar kits, and as well as our focus with government agencies and helping subsidize the cost of the installations. Mm-hmm.
And you touched on this earlier, but Brennan asks, how far do you think we are away from full solar integration? Will we ever get there? And do you think it'll take the place of electric?
So it's a great question. I personally think that solar, because it's driven by the sun and it doesn't require charging stations all around the country, which are very costly. As we know in the US, I think we ended up with nine charging stations for billions of dollars. I think it's a great alternative to the EV market, but I think it goes in combination with the EV market. And I think it does bridge the gap over the next 20 years of going from 11% EV to 72% EV. I think solar is the ideal solution for providing where it's not eliminating fuel consumption, it's not eliminating CO2, but it's greatly reducing it as we go.
And Tony asks, do you have sufficient facility capacity to meet your targets in 2025 and 2026, or will you need to expand your footprint?
No, we actually do. We have our facilities we have in Munich, Germany are more than sufficient for our planned growth for the next 2 years. And so we won't have to change our facilities or anything like that. So we're well positioned for the growth that we're anticipating.
And Derek asks, since you're considering NASDAQ, are you looking to uplist with a raise? Will there be a restructuring?
Yeah, so great question. So we're looking to get onto the NASDAQ as quickly as possible. And so they'll probably include a raise to get there, as well as a restructuring. We have a very clean balance sheet, which is nice because we have cash coming in and we have a clean balance sheet. We're going to be looking to convert our debt to equity, which will help strengthen our balance sheet and also help get to meet the net equity requirements for NASDAQ. And that'll put us in a great position for the uplisting hopefully by the end of the year, but that's where we're targeting.
And Chris asks, where has the cost of solar panels gone over the past 24 months? And where do you forecast they will go? Also, where are you sourcing your panels from?
So great question. So we source them from both Germany and China. The cost of solar panels continues to go down, but really as our growth occurs and therefore we have economies of scale, we'll look to reduce our cost even further, which provides a better price target for our consumers and our client base, as well as a nice gross profit for the business as we provide more solar panels and increase our production off of the solar bus kits and the solar kits that we're offering.
Bruce asks, when do you expect Sono Group to be available to be purchased in the U.S. markets, like on Robinhood or something like that?
Yes. So obviously on the OTC markets, it's a little more difficult to be purchasing stock on the open market. Once we get to NASDAQ, obviously, I think it creates a huge opportunity for all of those opportunities going forward.
And last question, feel free to close with this and elaborate as much as you want. Just talk a little bit about the differentiating factor. What makes Sono's solar kit better than those currently available on the market?
Right. One, so as I mentioned, we do have granted and pending patents. So that's number one. That definitely our proprietary information definitely is helpful. But it's also from lessons learned, and then including that in the execution of the business going forward. So we started off as a company looking to kind of the Sono origin story is two founders started the company to look to build a solar automobile that would be affordable, like the price of a Volkswagen Rabbit, basically, to in the $35,000 range. And so the expertise and the knowledge base that we got from doing that really carries us into the future as far as much more knowledgeable than our competitors that are just doing the solar bus kits or the solar integration, because everything we learned from that. We have 40 employees that were part of the old group and that are now part of the new group that really takes the company forward. And that gives us definitely a competitive advantage. So I would say our knowledge and know-how, along with our patent portfolio, definitely gives us that competitive advantage.
Wonderful. Well, this has been very fascinating presentation. Thank you for taking your time, George, and we hope you come back with some updates.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the participants for listening in on the presentation today. Have a great day.
Thank you, too. All right, stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.